Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector coming at you with a late night live. Today was somewhat of a busy day. Um, it was a really hot day. If you're on the West Coast, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We hit record breaking highs when it came to the heat. I mean, just the heat today was just downright exhausting. It was rough. But we're not here tonight to talk about the weather. We're here tonight to talk about more rare video game pickups. And once again, this was a GameStop run. Now, I think I might have squeezed the last bit of juice out of that lemon when it comes to the retro inventory that they had at the GameStop that I've been going to. But I went back and just got the last of the good stuff. So I'm going to show you guys what I got. Not everything here is like ultra rare, but there are a few games that are pretty rare. So I'll show you what I grabbed. So the first game that I picked up is Revolution X on the Sega Genesis. Now, this is a game that I picked up not necessarily because of the game, more so than because of the case. This was a very clean Sega Genesis case, and sometimes like clean Genesis cases are hard to come by. And this game wound up only being about, I don't know, maybe $8. So for $8, I felt like it was a good deal, even if it was just for the case. But for the game itself, it's still a pretty good deal because the game is actually complete in box, and the manual is actually pretty good condition. So this was probably the first, not the first, but this is the second Genesis game that I've gotten from GameStop this week. And then we had another Genesis pickup. This one's actually a little bit more rare, a little bit more valuable. This one is Toe Jam and Earl for the Sega Genesis. And I never really understood why this game was worth what it's worth. I mean, it's a decent game, but it's nothing I would go crazy over. But this was another GameStop pickup, which I was stoked about. This too is complete as well. The manual on this one is not in as great of a shape as the Revolution X, but it does come with like I think the registration slip. So this was another GameStop Genesis pickup, complete in box Genesis game. Anytime I can get my hands on a complete in box Genesis game, I'm gonna grab it. I think this one, when I checked price charting, which I feel like price charting is outdated these days, but this one price charts at around 40 to 50. So again, this is a $20 pickup, so I'm not gonna be mad at that. Yet again, another good deal. Then moving along, we get into some PlayStation 2. So they did have Godzilla Unleashed for the PlayStation 2. This was one that I actually wanted to get when I had my PlayStation 2 collection. I just never got around to it. But this copy is actually pretty clean. Not mad at the condition at all. And again, we're working with another complete in-box copy for the PlayStation 2. So these Godzilla games are kind of expensive. Even the ones on like the GameCube and is pretty expensive as well. GameCube, I think, and the Wii. There's a Godzilla for the Wii that's pretty pricey, but this one was another good deal. Again, this one wasn't as good of a deal. I think that I got this one in like for like 47. I think this price chart's around 60, so pretty decent deal. Also, someone asked me on my last video how much I paid for my complete in box copy of Gunstar Heroes. That one was like $57. And that one also price charged for around 130. So pretty good deal on that. All right, so moving right along. Now we're gonna get into some NES stuff. So got this really clean copy of Dracula's Curse for the NES. This copy is like really clean. Definitely cleaner than my original copy of Dracula's Curse on the NES. I'd like to get all three. Castlevania, I think it's Belmont's Revenge, and then Dracula's Curse. So I'd like to get all three for the NES. But this was the one that they had in store. So I went ahead and snagged this one up. This one was like 28, and I think Dracula's Curse averages somewhere, I don't know, 35, $40. So again, not bad at all. Salty Seabirdy. What's going on, man? Nintendo, yeah. So this is original Nintendo. And then finally, I'll show you guys the rarest one of them all. The rarest pickup today was this copy of Godzilla 2 for the SNES. Now, not sure how or why this copy of Godzilla 2 was in store, but it was in there. Had no clue that this was like $160 to $170 game on the NES, but this one was there. I think all of these games were brought in by the same guy. Unfortunately, this one isn't in as great of a condition as like Dracula's Curse. That one's like in like new condition. You can clearly see the difference between the two cartridges. As you can see, like Dracula's Curse is like nice. It's got that nice clean shade of gray, and Godzilla 2's definitely seen some better days. But like I said, this cartridge, for some reason, it goes for a pretty penny. It's pretty pricey. And I was kind of shocked that they had it there, but I did go ahead and grab this one. This one I got for 70, like 74. And I believe Godzilla 2, again, this one ranges between 165 and 170. So all in all, this is probably the last of the good stuff that they had there at that particular GameStop. And, you know, these are probably the main four that are going to go into the collection. This one I just picked up for the case. It's always good to have extra clamshell cases, and so that's why I grabbed that one. All in all, I'm pleased with everything. Hey man, thank you. Let me see, Apaca Septic 8300. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, just slowly rebuilding, you know. Um, Neon, what's going on, man? Yeah, thank you for that. I'm rebuilding it. You know, a lot of people ask, can you build a retro collection in 2026? And I'm gonna see if I can. You know, I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna see how far I can go with rebuilding my collection. For those of you who've gone on my page, you know what my collection used to be. My collection used to be, you know, pretty pretty extensive. You know, I had a really good PlayStation 1 collection, a really good Dreamcast collection. I had a really good PlayStation 2 collection. For those of you who, you know, if you want to know, just go back, go back and watch some of my older videos and you'll see what I used to have. But yeah, rebuilding my collection this time, I didn't think that it was going to start with the NES, but it's just the way fate had it. What's going on, Skur? He says, makes you wonder if these pricey game is sustainable price wise. Who would want to spend on a 150 to 200 when indie releases? I agree, but you know what's so crazy about that is that I feel like the gaming community picks and chooses which games they care about after a re-release and which ones they don't care about after a re-release. I feel like there are some games that have gotten re-releases and the price of the originals have gone up. There are some games that have gotten re-releases and the price of the originals have gone down. But I think overall, I feel like overall the retro community just kind of picks and chooses which games retain their value. I also think it depends too on the type of game it is that gets the re-release. You know what I mean? I've always said when when shoot 'em ups get re-released, they don't play the same. I feel like almost every major or every kind of hidden gem Japanese import shoot 'em up game has gotten a re-release. Radiant Silvergun, the Batsugun games. You can download almost every Japanese shooter on the Switch. There's like versions of them on the Switch. Even if there isn't like a physical version out, you can play the games, but they just don't play the same. They just don't play the same. But that could just be me. It could all be in my head. Who knows? Light fiber optic. Low key, I wish I could collect these types of things, but my mom says they're expensive, unfortunately. I do collect dollars though. Oh, and other currencies. Yeah, I try to collect those too. Well, I try not to collect dollars because dollars are losing their value these days. I try to collect stocks. Stocks are a little bit better than, or gold, or silver, or bonds, right? That's what I would go for. Um, uh, let's see. Do you have any duck hunt games? And the gun, I don't have any duck hunt games. Before I get into any light gun games, I have to get a new CRT TV. So my goal is to have a CRT TV by the end of the summer. That's what I'm aiming for, is to have one of those. Can I buy all of those for 7,000? I'm pretty sure you can. That's a lot of money. I don't think all of this comes up to 7,000. Godzilla 2, that's a rare one. Thank you, sir. Have you heard of Disney's re-release classic titles from the NES, SNES, Genesis to Switch? So no love lost for Chip and Dale 2. Somebody told me that. Somebody told me that. Because for those of you who don't know what Skirt's talking about, I had found a copy of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2 on the NES, which is like a $400 game. But I had to return it because it didn't work. Like it wouldn't fully load up. And I also had a copy of Batman, Return of the Joker, which I also had to return, which I was more upset about the Batman than the Chippendale. But then after I returned it, somebody told me that they were re-releasing it on the Switch. So I was like, okay. But then I turned around and I ordered a copy of Batman Return of the Joker on GameStop's website for the Game Boy for 17 bucks. And instead they sent me the NES version. So I guess fate just really wanted me to have Batman Return of the Joker on the NES. Dollars are also pretty basic if you're an American, except maybe the $2 bill. I have one $2 bill. It's the same $2 bill my mom gave me like years ago when I was a kid. Castlevania 3 is top tier NES. I agree. There's some really awesome low dollar NES games out there. Like there's this Wolf game, Teen Wolf, or like the label is yellow, but that game looks really cool and I want to get my hands on that one. That one looks pretty dope. Do you have any dirt bike games? I don't have any dirt bike games. Then can I buy it for like 4,000 if it's not worth that much? No, man, I don't sell games to my channel. I've been on YouTube for 6 years now, and I've never sold a single thing to anyone on my channel, except for when I did memberships. I started to do memberships like last year, like last summer. I started doing memberships, and I had this whole plan of how I was gonna run my channel, and then life hit, and I left the East Coast and moved to the West Coast, and now I'm rebuilding my collection on the West Coast. So a lot's changed. But to answer your question, no, I don't sell anything to my channel. I don't, I've never done that. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell. I'm just, I'm trying to rebuild. I'll tell you guys where to get it though. Like if you, because I definitely don't gatekeep. I don't gatekeep. If you guys want to rebuild your retro game, this is what I've seen. I'll just tell you guys what I'm seeing as I'm out here game hunting. One, retro video game stores are the worst. Like seriously. Um, I had my feelings about eBay and stuff, but retro video game stores are the worst, man. I was just in a retro game store the other day, like yesterday, and they had a copy of Shadow of the Ninja for $100 on the NES. Now, don't get me wrong, it looked like a fairly good copy. I wasn't able to see the back of the cartridge, so I don't know what the back looked like, but the label looked like it was in good condition. And I was just standing there like, bro, $100 for Shadow of the Ninja? And it's like, to me, I know that GameStop sells that game for 59 bucks. So why would I pay a video game store $100 for that? Unless I just wanted to support that store, right? But I don't want to support the store that much, like not to where I'm paying, that much more for a game that I know all I have to do is just wait for it to land on GameStop's website and I can just order it online. So, like, retro game stores are the worst right now. I've been to maybe four retro game stores since I've been out here, and it's not been fun. Now, Easy Gamers, I was talking to Easy Gamers earlier today, and he was telling me about SoCal Gaming Expo, and I'm thinking about going to that, but I don't know, man. I went to retro. I used to. I the one retro like convention that I went to back when I was on the East Coast was Long Island Retro Expo, and I feel like SoCal is just gonna be a bunch of like if I go to a convention, I'm just going there to buy video games. Like I don't really care who's there. Like I don't like I'm not trying to like go and like shoot content with guys and make these videos. Like I don't really care about that stuff. Like I've never been like that. I don't show my face in any of my videos, so I really don't care to be a part of anyone's video. Like so if I go to SoCal Gaming Expo, I would probably be so incognito that guys would not even know I was there. Like I'd go there, look for the games that I want, and like leave. And the only reason why I would go to the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo is because there's a couple games that I'm looking for that I can't find on eBay, and I know I'm not gonna find it in a retro game store. And the main one is Lords of Thunder on the Sega CD. I know I'm not gonna find that in a store. It's hard to find in stores. I never even found that game. I think I saw that game once in New York, one time, like physically in New York. But so that would be the only real reason why I'd go to Long Island Retro Game, not Long Island, sorry, SoCal Gaming Expo, is to find the really rare stuff that I know I just won't find. But even then, like I'm hesitant to go there and do that because guys are going to have that game convention premium on the games, and then it's just going to kind of defeat the purpose. Every copy of Lords of Thunder that I'm seeing on eBay right now is going for like $1,200, which is stupid. I mean, 350, okay, I get it, 350. Even if you said 380, okay, for the max, but like a 1,200, that's like I can't do that. That's stupid. Let me catch up on some of these. Let me see. Werewolf, The Last Warrior. Yeah, it was decent, but it gets hard. Yeah, that's the one. The Junk Bucket. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. I think that's the one. I think I'm gonna try and grab that game. Um, Neon Tetra. Good, good. These things are probably very valuable keepsakes and maybe even practically a souvenir. Yeah, I think so. I think they're gonna get to like at the antique phase soon. Game store only price it high and then they rarely drop. Yeah, it's true. Like, and I mean, game stores in New York were just as bad. I mean, they really were. Like, some were decent. Like, Book Off was good. Book Off was actually a decent store. I gotta give them their props. I paid 260 for Chrono Trigger. Is that a good price or did I overspend? 260 for Chrono Trigger? Um, I'm not really good with like giving advice on like games that I don't know about, and I haven't done the research on Chrono Trigger to know what is a good price for it, to be honest with you. The only copy of Chrono Trigger I ever had was on the DS when I had it complete in box on the DS. And what's funny is that I still didn't even have it complete because I was missing the map. So I'm not the guy to ask about that. I would just check like price charting or eBay solds, and that'll give you a good idea. Skurs, how was the swap meet? The swap meet was actually really, I'm working on a video right now. I got like a lot of footage of my time at the swap meet. But I don't want to make a video just about the swap meet. So I'm kind of compiling a bunch of footage and I'm gonna try to make like a decent, like a bigger video, which will include like swap meet footage and stuff. Maybe I'll do like a end of month wrap up because March is just kind of like flying by. Like the month is just going by so fast. So, but the swap meet was good. It was not what well, let me go back. First of all, I got to the swap meet late. And I know how those things go. If you're not like first in line at anything where something's being sold like really cheap, it's slim pickings by the time you get there. So by the time I got there, I could tell that the stuff that was there was just stuff that like it was either overpriced or no one really wanted. So for me, it wasn't that amazing. Also, I want to say I covered about 60 to 65% of all the vendors there. And of all the tents that I went to, only like three of them had video games. Um, and one of them, it was just like a lady who was selling like a bunch of random stuff. And I could tell like she just got destroyed. Like I could just tell, like, when you get somewhere and like you could just know, like there was probably some good stuff here earlier and they just got ravaged. And she told me too, she was like, oh, yeah, people came and, picked through it. So if you're not first in line at a swap meet or like anything, because even in New York, like if there are certain thrift stores in New York where you have to stand in line and you got people who stand in line like an hour before the store opens. So I just wasn't there early enough. So I don't think I got the full experience. I need to like do it again, but next time like be there early. Um, Let me see. Let me catch up on some of these. Honestly, game stores kind of just overprice everything. They make either that or they're just corporate business who loves money. Um, I go to this place which sells Japanese Pokemon cards, other cool things. Yeah, I mean, mom and pop stores don't have like the ability to like do like the reward systems that GameStops has, or they just can't price things as low because, they have overhead. So I get it. Like I'm not necessarily mad at the mom and pop shop. I just can't bring myself to pay you $110 for a game that I know if I'm patient enough, I'm gonna get it on GameStop for like a third of the price. I just can't at this point. Shadow of the Ninja is one of my favorites. Looks like 86 on price charting right now, but yeah, 100 is a bit high. Yeah, I mean, look, maybe the price went up. I just know that like the last time I bought it, I think I got the copy for like 56 bucks. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn, it went up that much? And I'm like, I just sold my collection not that long ago. Like, there's no way it could have gone up that much. I have the first Godzilla on NES game. Love it. How's Godzilla 2? I just got Godzilla 2 today, so probably after this live, I'll try and hook up the Genesis and the NES and make sure all of these games work. I'm definitely a big Godzilla fan. Got the GameCube version. PS4 Godzilla is probably the most expensive game for that system. This is true. I totally forgot Godzilla's on PS4. Values on retro games? Yeah, not an expert either. Cali is really the best environment to get some steals on games. Being able to hunt all year is definitely a plus. So that is the one thing that I have not done yet. I have not gone to a yard sale yet. And there are so many. Like I'm blown away at how many yard sales happen like every day too. It's not just like on the weekends out here. It'll be like on a random Tuesday. Like it was Monday and somebody was like having an estate sale, which I know there was some really good stuff at that estate sale. Like even video games aside, there was probably just cool stuff at that estate sale. But thrifting and like reselling is a way of life out here. Like yard selling and like, New York is definitely a city of hustles. Like you can do so many hustles in New York, but Cali, especially SoCal, man, you could do a lot of hustles out here too. Like I'm just realizing there's so many things you can like flip and hustle. Honestly, I think I'll sub. I'll probably watch the video and see how it is. Thanks, man. Chrono Trigger for the SNES is pricey. DS version is the definitive version. If you want it for cheap, get the PS1. Yeah, that is the cheapest way. You get it for the PlayStation. What made you move all the way across the nation to Cali? That's a big deal. You liking it better? Definitely the weather is better. So a lot of reasons, bro. There's actually a video on my channel. I think it's called The Last Continue. So if you go back on my channel, like the last few videos gives like a high level overview. But if I were to answer it right now, just lifestyle change, career opportunities, and when you have kids, staying cooped up in the house 6 months out of the year because it's either really cold or, once summer finally comes, living in a city like New York is just tough, especially when you're in the inner city with children. It's tough. Like I never really understood why, like once people had kids, they left the city and moved to the suburbs. Like there's a real reason why people do that. It's because in a city like New York, like I said, just starting with the weather, right? So if you look at the weather, you can only really be outside comfortably for like 4 months out of the year. And because everyone knows that, when those comfortable months come, everyone is outside. So like even if you want to go and enjoy outside, you can't because everyone's out there. And there's like 8 million people in a very small space, everybody trying to be outside. So, like, if you go to a park, if you think you're gonna go have a nice, relaxing day at the park, forget about it because every 3 feet there's gonna be a body. Somebody's out there. Somebody's barbecuing something, playing some loud music, dogs everywhere. Like, it's just New York is just it's crammed. It's a lot of people. It's just a lot. And when you have kids who want to be out and about and just be outside, sometimes some of these other states are just better. I get why some people move to Texas or move to the Carolinas or move to, the Midwest or whatever. For me, I was familiar with Cali because I've lived here before. So it just made sense for me. Um, I didn't necessarily do it for video games. I did it for just a lot of other reasons, but being here has exposed me to the video game scene. So that's cool. Um, Accidentally left it live. You deserve more subs. Y2K, your content is very informative. The way you articulate is refreshing for gaming. Thanks, man. You know, the subscriber thing is a tricky thing, man. With YouTube, it's really like an algorithm thing. You kind of have to like be in the algorithm and keep posting. And, some people, when they find something that works on YouTube, they do the smart thing, which is they keep pressing that button. So if they find a video or a video topic or like something that drives a lot of engagement, then they'll just keep doing that. I've never really been like that on my channel. Like at the risk of losing subscribers or not growing as fast, I've talked about different topics. I've changed my format. I've stopped posting for a while. I'll post photos. I'll talk about food. I post photos of like jerk chicken or barbecue, or when I went to Hawaii, I posted a bunch of photos of there. So like when you do things like that, it it kicks you out of the YouTube algorithm because then YouTube doesn't know who to point your content towards. And like I get bored like doing the same thing or talking about the same thing back to back to back to back like all the time. So so yeah, I think that's part of what throws me out of the algorithm from time to time. I'm just, whatever I feel like doing, I'll do. But that's because like my intent isn't necessarily to like grow a huge channel. It's just to talk about what the hell I want to talk about. Like, you know what I mean? Whether it grows my channel or not, whether I get a lot of views or not, whether I get a lot of subs or not, it doesn't really matter to me. It was never about that. Who knows? Maybe one day, like, I'll take YouTube very seriously and I will start to do that. But like, it's been 6 years and I've never done that. Let me see. I'm not really an expert on any type of 2000 video games. I'm kind of just there to collect. I kind of like how I collect currencies and coins. Nice. California is burning. New York is liberal. Texas is Republican. And the whole South is right wing. America is divided. By the way, this isn't about politics, so you don't need to respond if you don't want. I mean, bro, I'm kind of agnostic to all of this. I really don't. Um, I I really only just care about the stuff that immediately impacts my kids and my family. And I know one could argue that all those things impact my kids and my family, but I only worry about what I can control within my sphere of influence and the degrees to which I can touch things. What's happening, on another planet, in another country, there's only so much I can do about those things. Before I could ever worry or get too concerned about something that's happening even 20 miles away from me, I have to first worry about what's going on in my own home amongst my own family. I've got two kids, a partner. I've got them to worry about first before I could worry about anything else. You know what I mean? And I just think a lot of times people spend so much time worrying about all these things that are happening outside of their home when their own house is burning. Like literally the stuff that's going on in their own home needs to be fixed. So before I can like worry about, like I said, what's going on in another city, another state, another country, another planet, I have to dedicate all my attention to making sure my own house is in order. Once, when my own house is in order, then I can start to worry about that. But you know what? Making sure your house is in order is a daily activity. So I don't know if I will ever have the bandwidth to genuinely care enough about things that are happening outside of my home to take any type of emotionally charged approach to any of that. I hope that answers that. Um, Super expensive in New York, at least in Cali, it's expensive, but you're not in the closet. This is true. This is true. Both New York and California are expensive. The difference is in California, you get better weather, more space. You feel like you can actually breathe. You can see the sky, which is amazing. Like the sunsets in California are beautiful. I mean, just stand at the top of a mountain and watch the sunset. It's worth every penny. Who cares about the algorithm? The algorithm doesn't really determine what you like. It kind of becomes unfair because of smaller creators becoming less important. This is true. On YouTube, I've definitely taken your advice and tried to focus my collecting more killer, less filler games. Yeah, man, that's what it's about. And killer's different for everybody. Like killer for you might be a bunch of like really niche RPG games. I just don't like RPG games because they take too long to play. I don't have the attention span for it. Like I can't, I rather action games. That's just me. Do you also collect other video game related items like novels, comic books, lunchboxes, etc.? So I started to collect, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but I started to collect Storm Collectibles action figures, like those 110 scale action figures. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but Storm Collectibles has they do a really good job with those. And I had collected I had like a Zangief, I had a Sagat, I had a Ryu, I had a Storm Collectibles version of Axel from Streets of Rage 4. I had started collecting those action figures. But then I started running out of room. I was like, hold on, wait, I don't have room for this stuff. So then I had to stop. And then when it was time for me to move, I ultimately wound up selling pretty much all of them to Book Off in New York. Book Off actually bought a lot of them from me. But I was collecting that. But I would say that that was probably it. Like I don't do amiibos. I don't do comic books. I don't do DVDs. I don't really do anything. And a lot of it is because like right now, just space is still a bit limited. Like when I was in New York, I was living like I still own my home out there, but when I was in my home out there, I had a lot of room. I had a lot of space. Like I had, at first my game room was like I put it in my attic, and then I moved it from my attic downstairs. So it was, it wasn't like a ton of room. Like I wasn't like, wasn't a mansion, but it was a little more room than I have now. So right now I'm just kind of focusing on video games until like things change, when I'm back in a position to like dedicate a larger space to the games, then yeah, that will happen. Plus, like when you have a 1 year old, I don't know if any of you guys have kids, but 1 year olds just have a sneaky way of finding stuff and tearing it apart. So I got to be careful. Let me see. Yeah, I just need a Game Gear Master System and the Sega CD and CDX. Yeah, I just got a Sega CDX the other day. Respect, that's what I care about. Nice. You're not officially back in Cali until you go through your first earthquake. You know what's funny is that when I moved back to when I was in New York, we had two major earthquakes. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think there was like an earthquake that happened in New Jersey that was so big we felt it in New York. So that was the first one. That was a pretty big one. And then there was another one that I think happened off the coast. It happened off the coast of like I think like Russia or something, and we felt it over here too, or we felt it in New York as well. So those were like two big ones that I remember. I remember happening a while back. Let me see. So you're saying you should worry about your first priorities, which is understandable, and not focus on whether Kamala or Trump get in office. Yeah, man. I mean, look. I mean, outside of your vote, what other control do you have over that? You have one vote. You vote, and then that's it, right? Like after that, I mean, I'm not losing sleep over it. Killer for me is shoot 'em ups and Metroidvanias. I would have to agree, Socrates. I agree with that. Scott, what's going on, man? How you doing? How are you doing? I'm just doing a live, man. I'm trying to get back in the habit of doing these lives. I know they're not as exciting as, I know I'm not sharing my screen and playing some super high-tech PlayStation 5 game. Usually when I do these lives, I just do them so that we can talk. We all can just kind of chill, decompress after a long day and just kind of hang out over video games and just chop it up. But if you're just joining, I was just showing everyone kind of the last of the retro pickups that I got from that GameStop, and a complete unboxed copy of Toe Jam and Earl, Godzilla 2 for the NES, Dracula's Curse, and this game here for the Sega Genesis, which I primarily got just for the case. It's just tough to find good clamshell cases these days, and I know I'm gonna run into a Sega Genesis game that I'm gonna wanna replace. Neon, thank you for that, man. Thank you. Well, ladies and gents, it is about that time. Look, hopefully you guys had a great Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. I'm working on a video. Hopefully I can get it out to you guys this weekend. I'm gonna try to see if I can get the edits in. I'm gonna try to get all the swap meet footage in that video, all the GameStop footage that I can in that video, and I'll try to get that out to you. Are you also planning to get PS5 or just stick with retro? Just retro for right now. Just retro for right now. Yeah, just retro. I'm realizing now as I'm trying to rebuild my collection that there were some games that are going to be extremely difficult for me to get back. Like really, like I don't know if I'll ever get them back. I don't think I'll ever get them. I don't think I'll ever get them back. One of them is Rapid Reload, which is not a North American video game. That is the PAL version of a side-scrolling run and gun shooter. The Japanese version of that game is called Gunner's Heaven, and there's plenty of copies of Gunner's Heaven out there because it plays like that game. If you've never heard of it, that game plays like what's that game on the DS? Shoot. I'm tired, so stuff is harder to come back to me. But God, what's that game on the DS that plays just like Metal Slug, but it's not? It's like a cross between Metal Slug and Gunstar Heroes. Oh man, I'm having a brain fart. Why can't I think of that game? If you know what I'm talking about, you can put it in the comment section. But there's a game on the DS that plays like literally, it's a cross between Gunstar Heroes and Metal Slug. And this game called Rapid Reload plays just like that. Yeah, Commando Still Disaster. Thank you. Yeah, Commando Still Disaster. So there's a game that came out for the PlayStation, and that game is called Rapid Reload. There's not many copies of that game out there for the PAL version, because the PAL version, the subtitles are in English, and there's a lot of subtitles in that game. Like there's a lot of like texts. So if you get it in Gunners, if you get the Gunners Heaven version, it's in Japanese, and unless you read Japanese, you're not gonna know what's going on. So that's, I think, why the PAL version is so difficult to find. And I had a complete in-box copy of that game, and I sold it, so that's gone for that. It's over for that one. That's gonna be really hard to get back. Those are the types of games that I really care about. That and Hyper Duel, thankfully, is a very common game in Japan, so I should be able to get that one back. That's not that difficult to find. Hyper Duel I can order, but like some games I'm realizing are just hard to get back. Like Silent Bomber was difficult to find. Luckily, I found it in a store. Um, Another one, R-Type Delta, that's gonna be hard to find, man. A clean copy of R-Type Delta is gonna be rough stuff. Even though there's a version of it coming out on the Switch, that's gonna be tough to get back. Giga Wing 2, that's tough. I don't know if I'm gonna find another copy of Giga Wing 2. There's a few, like maybe I'll make a video about that, like the games that I'll never get back. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. Let me see. Much love, Y2K. Been a subscriber for a while. Seen you on Mr. Right Way stream a couple times. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Ralph Taylor, why are you buying full price on GameStop? Is there a flea market or other places? I don't think they're paying more is not the right way. Paying more for what, actually? Like, which games are you referring to? Because none of the games that I've gotten at GameStop are full price. They're all discounted, in a lot of cases heavily. Probably the closest game to full price in this group is Godzilla. This was like 47, and I think Godzilla's like a $60 game, but most of these games were either half off or more. Godzilla was like, what did I say? I was like 77 or so. Just to say Godzilla was 80. This game is like a $165 game. Toe Jam and Earl was like low 20s. Toe Jam and Earl was like a $40 to $50 game. Yeah, so I don't know. The only games that I've paid full price for since starting my collection again were Silent Bomber, and that was just because I knew that I wasn't gonna find a copy of Silent Bomber very easily, so I was willing to pay pretty much market ask for that, because finding a copy was just gonna be difficult. You know what I mean? And what else? I think that was really it. A lot of rare games on Whatnot storage auctions before people figure it out and flooded those sales. I mean, like I could buy storage units. Like I could do that. Maybe I will. I don't know. I gotta see. That's cool. You find them for lower prices at GameStop. The GameStop me and near has retro near full price. Yeah, it just depends. Like, don't get me wrong. GameStop does have some retro games at full price. They do have some, but here's okay. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here. When it comes to really really expensive games, some of the only games that are really expensive that GameStop is fully aware of are typically GameCube games and like certain PlayStation 1 games. But a lot of times, really, really rare and expensive games, like games that go for $300, $400, $500 at GameStop, if it's not a mainstream game that gets talked about a lot, GameStop isn't really gonna know. And so either they're going to have it priced really low, or they'll just play it safe and price it at $100. So if they're not sure that, and because a lot of it goes to, because a lot of times a game could be expensive, but no one wants it. Like no one really wants to buy it because no one has the console. So it won't make sense for GameStop to price it according to whatever its price starting price is, because they'll never move it, because not many people will want to buy it just because it's expensive. You know what I mean? But on the flip side of that, if it's a GameCube game for per se, where they know, okay, GameCube is hot and a lot of people might want to buy this game, they might price that game really high. So let me give you an example, right? So for instance, I bought Rescue Rangers Chip and Dale's 2 for the NES at the beginning of the month. That's a $400 game, right? They had it priced at $90. Now, flip the script and let's look at a game like Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. That's a game that they'll have posted for 100 and I don't know, 140 bucks. But how much does Twilight Princess go for now? Like what, 180, 200 bucks at best? So Twilight Princess on like eBay is only half the price of Rescue Rangers 2, but GameStop doesn't know that because they know that more people who are like riding the GameCube wave are going to be looking for Twilight Princess more than they're going to be looking for Rescue Rangers 2. So they're going to price Rescue Rangers 2 cheaper than Twilight Princess because they're they're not really following retro like that. They're kind of just following trends, so to speak. And they also have to think about how long it's going to take for them to sell the game. So the only person who's going to walk into a GameStop and say, "Ooh, yeah, give me that copy of Rescue Rangers 2," is someone who really knows the NES library. And these days, how many people know that? Not many. Only us here on YouTube who are retro collectors, or, not a lot of people are going to be aware of that. And so that's the sweet spot when it comes to GameStop and rare games. It's finding the games that are rare, but they're not really gonna either know that it's rare, or they might know that it's rare, but they're still gonna price it low because they know if they price it too high, it'll never sell. So that's why I think GameStop is great for like original Game Boy games, NES games, Genesis games. If you can find Sega Saturn games, go for it. But GameStop usually prices things a lot more close to the market when it comes to PlayStation 1 games, PlayStation 2 games, GameCube games, and Game Boy Advance games. Those four categories are usually, they're going to try and milk those categories. But like original Game Boy, GameStop isn't gonna like GameStop is not going to go crazy with like even another example. I found a copy of Castlevania Legends for the original Game Boy. Super clean. I showed it in the beginning. It's in a video, one of my recent videos. How much does Castlevania Legends go for on the original Game Boy? Anybody throw that out there. But I can guarantee you that Castlevania Legends is more expensive than most games that they have priced higher than it. But GameStop just doesn't know that. So they're gonna go ahead and price like, I don't know, they're gonna price some GameCube game higher than that because they know more people are probably looking for GameCube. So I gave that whole long soapbox speech to say that not every game from GameStop is priced according to market. They're they go according to trends because GameStop follows YouTube too. Those guys at GameStop, they're following YouTube, they're on Instagram, and usually they're following the big content creators. So if you're like a content creator who's like, if the content creators are all talking about like GameCube, then they're gonna price up their GameCube stuff. Just look at the trends. The same thing happened with Xbox 360 and PlayStation. Remember when um remember when Wolverine and Deadpool came out? Dude, Wolverine Uncaged Edition for PlayStation 3, that game, they had that game going for like damn near $90 at one point. They had Wolverine Uncaged for like $94, and the price went up exponentially like in a couple months. I'll never forget that. That was like in 2024 or 2023? That game went from being like $36 to like $90 like in one summer. Why? Because it was just trendy. So GameStop doesn't price their retro stuff according to like retro collectors or like necessarily eBay. I think they do it more so on trends. Um, Sorry, I didn't mean to go that long speech, but that was just to answer the question to whoever was like GameStop charges full price. They don't. They do for some things, but not all things. You just gotta know kind of like where to kind of slip in and slip out. Man, I gotta catch up. I'm so behind on this. Scott Free said a lot of rare games on Whatnot store. I think I read that one. That's cool. You find them lower prices at GameStop. I think I read that one. I noticed modern day disc base tends to fail more often. I got Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is a minor scuff, but it won't install. Stuck at 69%. Now that's rough. I'd be pissed if that was like a Splatterhouse or something like that. Combat Gamer says, I have a sealed Magical Quest 3 for GBA and I got it for like $10 back in 2013. That's nice. Luckily, I have another copy that's able to install. Always buy multiple copies. I agree. Just Dave, what's going on, man? It is so true. GameStop is in the business to sell. Even they have to clear out many of the collector edition because it isn't moving. Right, right. They're gonna, right. Yeah, at that price, you should have kept the Chippendales too and found a copy with a really bad label that works and swapped them, pay less. I thought about it. I thought about doing that, but then I was just like, I wasn't that married to the game. Like, to be honest with you, like I wasn't. If it was like a shoot 'em up or something like that, then maybe I would have did that. Maybe I was more tempted to do that with Return of the Joker than I was Chip and Dale, just because I'm not that like married to the game. Like I just wasn't that hype off of Chip and Dale. Now Gunnack, I found that same day I found a copy of Gunnack. If Gunnack was the game that wasn't working, yeah, I would have kept it regardless and waited until I found done a swap like you said. Pretty much supply and demand determines the price at GameStop. It loses, it's loose 140 CIB 800. I'm not sure, Scott. Which one are you talking about? Sorry, I've been going back and forth in the comments. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Building up the collection again. Nice. Yeah, man. Yeah, Return of the Joker is notorious for bad labels for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. That label is like bad. The one that I have, I have to pull the label off and like put it back on. I'm gonna have to use like a heat gun and do that whole surgical process to get it working again. Oh, Castlevania Legends is 140 loose and CIB 800. Okay, yeah, there you go. Um, Return of the, yeah. Yeah, guys, I think, I think everybody's, on Pokemon right now, and they're gonna be on Pokemon. And while everyone's stuck there, I'm gonna go ahead and rebuild my collection. But that does it for me, man. I'm tired. I need to go to bed. I will catch you guys in the next one. It's the Y2K Collector. You guys take it easy.